Good day traders, you're welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be showing you guys my secret trading strategy, the supply and demand trading strategy, and how I trade them. Okay, so let's start. So first of all, when I come to the market, looking at this market right now, the market is at this point the market is bullish, but the market, you can see that it has been bearish. Okay, so but first of all, let me illustrate it for you guys so you can understand carefully. All right, so first of all, when I come to the market, I want to see what the market structure. So what do I mean by that? I want to see highs and lows being broken. Okay, so this is the lower high, and then I want to make sure that the previous low is broken to give you a lower low, right? And then the new high that's forming, it should not take out this previous high. Okay, it should not take out this previous high, and then it should form what? It should break this other low, right? So this now will confirm that the market is what? Bearish. Why? Because we are having our break of structure here, right? So we are having this break of structure here, and then this is our high. This is the previous high, the extreme high here. So what we need to be doing now, we have to look for what? A selling supply zone around here. Okay, we look for the supply zone that matches the good supply zone before the break of this structure. So and then most times the exchange supply zone tends to be the best, and then we expect market to pull back to that supply zone, and what? We are going to sell the market down. All right, so but there are also few things you need to look out for before knowing the appropriate supply zone for you to use. All right, so there are some few things you need to look out for, but I cannot explain all of that in this video. That's why if you need the full strategy, you can check on my Telegram channel. All right, so we are going to expect the market to pull back to this exchange supply zone, and then we are going to sell the market, right? We're going to sell the market down, and then the market is going to drop massively. Okay, and at this point now, you are seeing that what? This market is still bearish. So what we are looking out for is to continue selling. So at this point, we are having the new break of structure here, right? And now our new previous high now becomes this. So anything happening between this high and this low is what? A bearish market, right? So even if on the lower time frame the market does something like this, the market is still bearish until it what? Until it breaks this previous high. So but what we can expect is for the market to come back to the supply zone around here, and then what? We are going to expect it to drop again massively. Okay, we are going to expect it to pull back to this supply zone, and then it is from there it is going to flop. It's going to what? Sell massively. So it is very easy and very soft, not much complicated strategy. Okay, so it is very easy and very soft. All you need to do, you need to understand the market structure, and then you need to know the right supply or demand zone for you to use. Okay, and then let's say for instance the market is shifting to bullish trend. How can we say that this market is shifting to bullish trend? Now, like I told you, this is our what? Our previous high, right? And this becomes what? Our previous low. Why? Because at this point we are having a new shift of structure to the downside. Okay, now if the market does this, let's say the market now breaks this high, this previous high here, that formed this lower low. At this point, from here now, we can now say, okay, the market is now shifting to bullish. Okay, so at this point, we can now say the market has shifted to a bullish trend. And at this point now, we can now identify this as what? We can identify this as what? A new break of structure, right? And then after that, we're going to look for what? The best supply zones. So sometimes there might be multiple zones. You see the zones that lead to the break of structure here. You might see another zone here, right? And then you see the exchange zone. So most times the exchange zone is what we look forward to enter our trade, right? And then we are going to wait for the market to pull back to that exchange zone before we are going to buy. But in some cases, I do trade the supply and demand zones with some using four ways, right? So sometimes momentum and imbalance can determine the particular supply or demand zone to use. Okay. So sometimes momentum or imbalance can determine the supply zone for you to use. So, but generally, we are to use what? The exchange zone based on this trading strategy, and then what we expect the market to fly from this point. All right. So with this illustration, let's go to our chart. Let me show you guys on the BTC chart. So this is Bitcoin USD at the moment, right? So let's follow the market down, down, down from this point, okay? So where do I start from now? Let's start from here, right? In the 4 hours time frame. Let me start from. Okay, let's start from here, guys. So if you look at this market now, we can see that what the market shifted structure at this point. So this was the shift of structure here on the 4 hours time frame, right? Because at this point we had the higher high here. Okay, the market formed a higher high here, and then we formed the equal high at this top. Then here at this point now we had the what? We had the break of structure to the downside, right? And then the market started dropping. So after seeing this, we are supposed to what? Expect the market to pull back to the supply zones for us to sell. So at this point, we are having this supply zone here. Okay, on the 4 hours time frame, we are having this supply zone, and this supply zone here, we are also having an imbalance. So if you have been following me, you understand what is imbalance. So the imbalance is the space in between this candle and then this next candle here. So this is the imbalance, The imbalance is the space between this candle and then this next candle here. So this is the imbalance. But unfortunately, the market did not pull back to that point, and then it did what? It formed a new break of structure here. So you can see this new break of structure here on the 4 hours time frame, right? And then what? You can see that this supply zone here is having a clear imbalance, right? So you can see the space between this and this rejection here. Okay, so this will be our supply zone. This last candle before the impulse be our supply zone on the 4 hours time frame. So if I go to the lower time frame, you see a lot of entries, but I'm teaching you this based on higher time frame. So this will be our supply zone. Why? Because we are having the imbalance, right? So this is our imbalance. You can see this space here. Okay, so the wick of this candle did not touch the supply zone before this massive drop. So that's our imbalance, and then we'll enter our sales from here from the 4 hours time frame. And this strategy is very sharp. Then we expect the market to flop, to drop massively. Okay, and then moving forward at this point, we add another what? Another break of structure to the downside. So if you look carefully, you can see we have the break of structure here again, right? And after seeing this, what do? We mark out our supply zone here. So this is our next supply zone here. This candle, the last candle before the impulse, is what our supply zone, and then we can see that the supply zone is also having an imbalance there. So this is our supply zone, right? This is our supply zone. If you zoom closely, you see the imbalance. Okay, so the imbalance is the space. The imbalance here is the space between this candle, right, and what? And this next candle here. So this is the imbalance. Some people call it fair value gap. So it needs to be filled. So at this point, it got filled, and then this is what? This is our previous. This is our previous high here. Okay. This is our previous high here at this point. Alright. So for the second entry, you can take your sell at this supply zone here. So this will be the entry. Okay, and then your stop loss will be a little bit above this high, right? And then you can see what? You can see the massive drop of BTC. You can see the market dropped massively. So these two beautiful trades on the 4 hours time frame using supply and demand, very simple and very straightforward. Right, so I was waiting for this setup, but the market did not pull back, and we had another break of structure here again. Another break of structure here again. So let me show you guys. But if you look carefully on the 4 hours time frame, you wouldn't see any imbalance here. So all the candles here are already be filled, right? So there's no imbalance at this point, so you ignore it. Okay, we don't trade zones without imbalance. And then at this point, let me go to the lower time frame and let me show you guys what happened on the lower time frame. So this is the 1 hour time frame. So if you go to the 1 hour time frame, you can see that what market formed on that lower low here. Okay, so let me show you. this is the lower low, and then what, the market pull back and formed a new lower low here. Okay, so at this point, this becomes what, our lower high. All right, in the 1 hour time frame, this becomes our lower high. This becomes our lower high. So the market shifted structure here. Okay, the market shifted structure, but before the market formed this shift of structure here, which you can see, let me write it out. So this break of structure here, if you look carefully, the only supply zone that we are having before the break of this structure is this one. Okay, so I don't know if you guys can see this candle here, this last candle before this impulse. This was the last supply zone we are having here. All right, and then we took this trade. I sent the trade to Telegram channel. We made money on this trade. Right, but the market did not sell for long, because as you can see what I'm showing you, you can see that what, a new low was created. Okay, so you can see that what, this is the previous low, this is the new high, and then a new low was created here, and then what, the market shifted structure at this point. Right, so the market shifting structure at this point is telling you that what, it is changing to a bullish trend. So at this point, what you need to do now is for you to follow the buy, and then you go to lower time frame, you see the demand zone clearly. So let me show you. So at this point, after we cut this sell position here, right, for a 1:4, okay, I refined my zone around there. I refined it to this small candle here, so it gave me a 1:4 instead, right? So after that, seeing the shift of structure on the lower time frame, which I just showed you now, you have to follow the new buy happening. So this is the candle. This now becomes what, our bullish demand zone, right? Because the market has already shifted structure here. So the market has already shifted structure here. Right? So now we are having a new break of structure here to the upside, like I explained earlier. And now we are going to follow the buy. So after cashing this sell, you can take this buy here again. This buy, right? And now you can see that what, the market also formed a new higher high again. Okay. So after seeing the new higher high, our demand zone now becomes this one at this point. So our exchange demand zone is this. So why do we not use this? Because we are also having an exchange demand zone here with imbalance. So you can see this imbalance here, and this is the demand zone. Okay, this is the exchange demand zone we are having at this point. That shifted the market to a bullish trend. Okay, so what we can do is to wait for the market to pull back, and then from here, boom, you can see the massive buys, right? And then the market is still going up. So that's easy as that. This is exactly how I trade using my strategy, the supply and demand. So it's very easy and very soft. All right, so if you enjoyed watching this video, I would like to smash the subscribe button and then comment. Okay, this video is very long, I know you guys will learn a lot from it. Okay, see you guys in my next video. And also to join my Telegram channel to get my trades, and then if you want the course fully, you can also check on Telegram channel, and then you can start trading with me and get the course. Alright. See you guys in my next video. Thanks.